Alrighty, so to tell you a little bit about what I do, I'm a social media figure on the rise in NASCAR and sports cars and Indy cars. I'm kind of a personality in both of those three areas of the sport, and
Okay.
I'm doing a project documenting the history of all three of those racing types of series.
Okay.
Yeah, and the project is an ebook, meaning it's for electronics and all that.
Okay.
The guy that suggested that I reached out to you was Vic Sifton of Kanaska Racing.
Oh wow. Really?
Yeah, do you remember Vic Sifton?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, I kind of connected with him a couple years ago for what started out as kind of an autograph request, but now it's turned into a professional connection for me, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Vic is your professional connection?
Yeah, he is, and he's one of them. I have tons of professional connections.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a lot of connections. Like one of my connections is one of the actors from the 1997 film Titanic. Ever seen that movie?
Oh yeah. Sure.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're okay with it, I have a list of questions about your racing career in sports car
Sure.
racing and NASCAR racing, and hopefully you have the answer for them.
Okay.
I'm
Let's give
sure
it a
you.
try.
Yeah, I'm sure you will though. So my first one is where are you originally from?
Originally from Tampa, Florida.
Nice. I went to Florida years ago. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I was born and raised there. Home of Don Garlics.
Yeah. I'm originally from Estes Park, Colorado. Ever been there?
Yep. I've been there.
Yeah, one of my favorite places.
Yep.
So what made you get into motor racing?
Well, nothing made me get into motor racing. I always, I'm a little bit unique in some ways because I always knew what I wanted to do. There was never, a lot of kids, they grow up and they don't know what they want to be, firemen, policemen, whatever, you know. Um, whatever. I mean, talking as a young kid. As a young boy, I knew I just wanted to be a race car driver. Now, one of the big questions I have, and I've never been able to really answer it, is where did I get it from? Where did I get this notion to be? I just did. My dad wasn't into racing. None of my family was into racing, and so. But I always knew what I wanted to do as a very young kid. I always wanted to be in racing, and I always wanted to be a race car driver. So that's kind of what got me into it. Is my desire to live my life.
Yeah.
Chase a passion, chase a dream, and a lot of kids have that. I'm not saying that's really unique. In my case, maybe it was because of growing up in the 60s, in the 70s, actually the 50s as a young boy, very young boy.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of racing going on. And so, where did I, my early recollection of this, it was going with my dad to a place called Plant Field, which is still there. And Plant Field was owned by, it was actually it was a track across the river from the University of Tampa. And the quarter mile, and that's where they had stock car races on Friday night. And but like the Rudiments, like Buzzy Rudiman, 00. So they ran there, and a little flat. Actually, I think it was the running track for the. I think it was the running track for the University of Florida.
Really?
University of Tampa, yeah. So now from there, I really, that's probably what got the bug going. I just was fascinated by it. And then later, the Florida State Fair, of course, would come every year. And then the IMCA sprint cars would come. And that was really blew me away. I loved that. And so on and so forth. Then drag racing, of course. started drag racing when I was 13 years old, and it was just one of those hot rod crazy kids. Into drag racing, into motors, into building things, into my favorite class at high school was shop. So I'd get my dad to take me out on Nebraska Avenue to where Garlett's kept his Dodges. They were super stock Dodges at those years, and I'd just stand across the street and look. I don't even know how I figured out where they were. I read it somewhere because I would get every hot rod magazine and every car magazine there was every month and read every page and actually cut out pictures and made albums like a kid will do, and I had all these albums. I wish I still had those, and of all those early cars. And so it turned out that those, in Tampa, there was 3 drag strips. And so Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday afternoon. So, and all the players from California would somehow come to Tampa. And so we got to see everybody. I mean, not just the guys from California. Most of them were from California, but there was a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff on the East too. I mean, I think the guys on the West would come over to run with the guys on the East. Like Sox and Martin was on the East, and Bill Jenkins was on the East. Those guys.
Oh.
There are a lot of gassers. So there was racing on both sides of the country. It was either on the East or the West, and so but they would make Tampa. And I think it had a lot to do with Garlett's and a lot to do with some of the people that lived in Tampa that built some of these race cars. And I knew those people too. I hung out in their shops. So anyway, that's what got me into it.
Pretty cool. And just a quick question: is Bill Jenkins that you mentioned? Is he the same guy that founded Latitude 43 Racing and NASCAR in 2010, or no?
Oh, no. This is, Bill Grumpy Jenkins,
Okay.
Grumpy's toy. And then Jack Roush started drag racing, Gap and Roush.
Oh.
So, anyway, was into that until I got to be about 20 or 21. And then I really got interested in road racing. I worked with a Camaro team in Sebring, on the crew, doing motors, gearboxes, stuff. And we were in one of those hangars with Carroll Shelby and those Mustangs and the Sunoco Camaros, the Penske cars. So, and I was working on one of the Camaros, and I kind of knew what I was doing. So, I would help with whatever, put tire wheels on, gearbox, whatever. And so that's what got me into road racing. I just got real interested in that. And, my first trip to Sebring was 65?
Oh, wow.
65, 63. I mean, I'd go, take my dad's car, drive over there, and stay in the back of the car.
Yeah, that was a long time
Me and my
ago.
buddy Ray Brooks, who I'm still friends with today.
That's pretty cool.
I go way back in that stuff. I always wanted to do it. So I was always in it. I've always been in motorsports my entire life.
Yeah.
And
I started.
I always say some people did more, some people did less. I did what I could do. I had no money.
Yeah, I would have to say that's very good of you, man. I first started in motor racing in 2009, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
If my memory's right. So yeah.
Interestingly enough, I've still got my very first, I think I showed it to my friend Michael. I've still got the first trophy I ever won is a jacket from Tampa Dragway. It says Class Eliminator on it. It's a white jacket.
Wow.
And it's the first trophy I ever won in my life, and I've got it. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. So the trophy was a jacket then?
Uh-huh. The trophy was a jacket.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, Tampa Dragway. Obviously, Tampa Dragway is no longer around. And, yeah, I've still got it. It's pretty cool.
If it's not around, it might be worth a lot of money one day.
Yeah, I mean, I just always kept it. I mean, it survived all the years. It just in the closets and moving and all through my life. And I don't know. It always and then there it is. I'm like, holy mackerel, look at that.
Yeah. So how did you get your first start in racing?
My first start in actual racing was I'd either sneak my dad's car out to the drag strip, or I would get other kids to take their dad's car to the racetrack, and I'd drive it because I was pretty good at it.
Ah, all righty.
So I was 13 years old. So, I could drive at the drag strip because they didn't know I was 13. You know?
Ah, all righty. Have you ever been to the Indianapolis 500?
Sure.
When did you first go?
I went to the Indy 500 in about 19. Think about this. It had to be in the 70s. Probably the early 70s. Like 74 maybe. Something like that. First time I ever went.
Ah, all righty. That was
Mario was leading. The year they had that big wreck in turn 1, I was in turn 1.
Oh, the wreck. That was in 73, I believe. Was it?
That's it. That was there. I was right there. We had a seat on the second level, right? It was a great seats. My parents knew somebody and got some of these seats, and it was beautiful.
That was.
And since then I've been there several times.
Yeah.
Obviously, but
73, if my memory's right. That was the race where it was rain shortened and all the wrecks were happening. And some say that it's the race that everyone wants to forget.
Yeah. So I don't remember a lot about it. I remember Mario was in it. He was leading for a while.
Yeah.
And he broke. But that was my first trip.
That's pretty interesting. So yeah, which motor racing driver was your hero growing up?
Growing up, it was Foyt, AJ Foyt.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked Foyt. It was Foyt and Mario, but I liked Foyt better. I was more of a Foyt guy than a Mario guy.
All righty. My grandfather went to the 500 in 77, the year that Foyt won his fourth 500. And he considered that one of his most splendid memories ever, as he was a Foyt fan. Yeah,
that was cool. And then later I got to know Jay. I got to know AJ pretty well, and with our relationship with U.S. Tobacco and all those years. And so, I've had the good fortune to, spend a lot of time with AJ through the years, hanging out, and I've heard a lot of the great stories, and I've been to his house, I've been to the ranch, and he's actually taken me through the house and showed me all the pictures, and so that was nice. I still know him to this day.
That's great to hear that you get to know your hero. You know what I mean?
Yep. Oh yeah, it was awesome.
If I had to pick someone who I consider to be my hero, it would be Jamie McMurray, but he kind of retired about last year, so now I follow his teammate Kyle Larson, who I met.
Okay.
Yeah. How did you get your ride with Buzz McCall?
Well, it's interesting. I was driving for Peerless, the Levi Garrett car, and then the next year I moved up to GTP, and Buzz bought one of the Camaros, so for GTO, and then I said, well, Buzz, I'll drive, if you want me, I'll drive with you, in GTO, and so that's how that started. That's how that relationship started. And then I came up with the idea to go Trans-Am racing because the GTO deal was just falling apart, and the car wasn't really competitive, and the Roush cars were far superior. The rules were really leaning away from the Camaro completely, and so I came up with the idea to do a Trans-Am program. And I went to Buzz, told him my idea, and we went to GM and we sold the idea to him. And we started out as a backup car, just a backup team. And and because they had factory teams, Tommy Kendall and Max Jones were actually running the Berettas, but we talked them into being an extra team to help them win the manufacturers championship, and that went pretty well. So, I finished. I think I was rookie of the year that year, and finished 5th in points, and put it on the pole up in Three Rivers, and I had a bunch of top 5 finishes. So I. We progressed from there, and then the next year we got the factory deal, and Scott Sharp and I were teammates.
Mm.
And so it was Scott Sharp and then Scott Pruitt for those years.
Ah, so is Scott Sharp a nice guy?
Yeah, I get along. I would say Scotty was my of all my teammates, Scotty was my favorite. He was the best teammate. We had so much fun in those years. I'm much older than him, and my job was to mentor him and bring him along as a young pup. But we just had a blast. We had a great time, and it was a fun. Those are some great years, and my favorite of all my teammates were definitely Scott Sharp. Not that the other ones were not good. The other ones were great, but it's just my very favorite because we had the most fun running around together.
Ah, alrighty, makes sense. And what was driving for American equipment racing like?
Well, that was pretty exciting. I mean, we were the factory team, and we were the winningest team, and we might still be. That in those years, American equipment was the 900-pound gorilla, and our only competition really was Roush and Ford.
Alrighty.
So we had a great team with a great team of people, and it was exciting. It was a great time, and of course, I was in the Hot Wheels car, the Hot Wheels Camaro, which I put that deal together, and so that was all my deal too. Yeah.
How did you get the Hot Wheels sponsorship?
Well, I dreamed it up. I dreamed the idea up. I just dreamed it up, and then I put the program. I put the thing that went and pitched it to them. I got somebody to get me in the building out there, and I got in the building, and I sold them the concept. Ooh. And it wasn't an easy sell. It was a pretty hard sell, actually, but we actually did it, and we created the Hot Wheels Camaro. It was the most, I would argue to say it's one of the most recognizable cars in the world.
I'll have to check out photos of it. That sounds pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was driving the '95 car in Atlanta like in the Busch Series?
Oh wow, that was so. Buzz had we had a chassis. Billy Hess built the car, and we were just we had this car. We had this Busch car, and we entered Atlanta. Well, let's go try it, And it was, we're out there in the dirt. We don't know what's going on. And, but on the first day, I was like, that's when they had first, second round qualifying. So on the first day, I was like 32nd or something out of 36. You stand on your time, or you could or 30 or 32 or 38 or something like that. You could stand on your time, or you could requalify. And they all wanted me to stand on my time, and I messed up the lap, and I just wasn't willing to do that. So I threw that time away, and I knew I could do better. And so we went the second round, and because of the first round, I got a lot of attention. The engine builder came over to help, and a lot of people came over to help. Earnhardt actually helped me a little bit. And so in the second round, I did a much better lap, and I was fastest second day qualifier, and which would have put me 7th on the grid. But instead, I qualified 25th because second day, the best you can do is 25, which was good. That means you're in. And so, it was one of those things where stock car racing, for whatever reason, I just took like a duck to water. I understood it. I got it. I understood the air. I understood how to drive the car. I mean, I warmed right up to it. So,
Awesome.
That's why we did pretty well. We ran there, and then we ran at Darlington, and we did well at Darlington too. I always made the field. That's when a lot of people were going home. I always made the field, and I never finished worse than I qualified.
Interesting.
And this was like no team, no help, no money, no nothing. Just drive the car out on a flatbed trailer, and of course you didn't have a garage, and you just out there in the dirt.
Interesting.
So, yeah. But we actually did pretty well. I mean, if we would have kept going, we'd have been fine. I got it. I like at Darlington, when I qualified at Darlington, I mean, I qualified first round. I made first round qualifying, and I qualified right next to Earnhardt.
Wow, that's really awesome.
Right next to him. Right next to him. And then I got moved into the garage. Same thing in Atlanta. And we did so well, they moved us into the garage because a lot of people went home. But I didn't go home. And we go for the dirt to the garage. They come around and they go, okay, you could have garage number 26. So we rolled it in there. And both times I was next to Dale.
Wow.
And Dale and I became pretty good. Through the years, we became really good friends. And,
what was your reaction?
Definitely the greatest guy I ever knew.
Yeah. What was your reaction to learning about Earnhardt's crash at Daytona?
Well, I was watching the race live on TV. In fact, I was sitting in the chair I'm sitting in right now. And I saw it, and I didn't like you couldn't tell from the TV, but I could tell by Kenney Schrader, the way he was standing next to that car, I could tell something was bad wrong. And also by the voice from Waltrip. And so immediately I'm on the phone to guys that are down there, in the garage. And, it was devastating. Absolutely devastating.
Yeah.
I mean, I could say, like, if you ask me the question, who's the greatest guy that I've ever known? To me, Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah.
And not because he was the best driver. There was no question.
Definitely.
I mean, I did IROC. I know who the best driver is. And Dale was better than any. I don't know. Everyone else wanted to be like Dale. I'm telling you, everybody wanted to be Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah.
And this is including Rusty and Mark Martin, all those guys. They were all good, but they all wanted to be like Dale. And Dale was better than them. And that's what I learned right off the bat. But Dale, it was not only what he could do behind the wheel and his innate ability to just really get the most out of the car and just a fantastic race car driver, but what he did off the track and how he was with people. And if you knew Dale, you knew the kind of guy he was and the kind of man he was. And he was just amazing. And it's a shame we lost him when we did, because he would have gone on and done wonderful things for the sport and for the people around it.
Yeah, and I think DEI would still be alive, I think, if he were still alive. The team, Dale Earnhardt Incorporated.
Oh, yeah, it definitely would be. Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, no question.
Do you know Andy?
Wouldn't have had all that going on with,
Yeah.
With Teresa and all that business,
Yeah. Do you know Andy Pilgrim at all?
I know Andy Pilgrim very well.
Yeah, I interviewed him last year, and he was at the race where Earnhardt crashed, and he told me that when the accident happened, the entire track went quiet, and that's how he knew that something was going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
tough. It was a shame. So.
Yeah. So have you ever raced in IMSA or Trans-Am at all?
I've won in IMSA? Sure. Many times. I've got 2 IMSA championships. And then I won the 92 Trans-Am championship.
Pretty cool. That's cool that you have championships in both divisions of sports car racing. Pretty cool, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you consider yourself an oval driver or a road course driver or both?
Well, I'm a road course specialist for sure. That was my career.
Hmm.
But when I did IROC, people say, "Don't you want to do a road course?" I go, "Hell no, I want to do ovals." And I always wanted to be when I won the U.S. Formula 4 Championship in 1972, my interview was, they said, "Do you want to go and run? Do you want to go to the Indy 500?" I said, "No, I want to be a Grand National stock car driver." So I always really wanted to be a stock car driver. So I always say that one of my, if it was a mistake, you can't say it was a mistake, but when I moved from Tampa to Atlanta, I would have been better off to just keep going on and go up to Charlotte. But who knows how that story would have turned out, So the good news is it turned out okay,
All righty. My next question after that is, as you probably have noticed, there have been a couple times in NASCAR over the years, like in 2012 and 15 and maybe a few years before that, where drivers in NASCAR have kind of intentionally wrecked each other to retaliate. Does that happen at all in sports car racing or no?
Yes. Yeah, that happens.
All right.
Not so much anymore, but it certainly has happened in the past, and it's part of it.
Yeah. Like there was one from a few years back where Matt Kenseth got parked for a couple races for doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear about that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, I remember that.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't think it's as bad in sports car racing as it is in stock cars, but certainly, I've been wrecked and I've wrecked other people.
All righty. Well, it takes a man to admit that. I will say that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
that's good on you, man. So yeah. So I have.
You know what? You give respect. You earn respect. You give respect. You take respect. You know what I'm saying? It's back and forth.
Yeah, of course. And I would agree.
A guy will typically race you the way you race him. So, back in the day, we were a little more physical about how we respected each other.
Yeah.
So now it's a lot different.
Yeah.
So anyway, moving on.
Yeah. But yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly with you as far as respect and all that. I would agree with you on that. All righty. So my next one after that is, how did you get your ride with ST Motorsports, now known as JTG Daughtery Racing?
Oh, I know. Tad.
Yeah,
Tad was a good friend of mine. I've known Tad since he started. When he started in NASCAR, somehow I met Tad Geschifter.
Ah.
So I've known Tad, and I still know Tad, Yeah. I met him when he got his first shop, his first deal, Sunoco, that whole deal.
Pretty cool. Is he a nice guy?
Tad. I've known Tad all through the years. Haven't talked to him lately, but I'm sure that,
Yeah, his
I'll
team.
run across him somewhere along the line, or maybe I'll give him a call. Thanks for reminding me. Maybe I'll give him a call, catch up with you.
No problem, yeah. His team won at Watkins Glen a few years ago with AJ Allmendinger.
Yep, that was great. I sent him a text and congratulated him. I watched that race happen.
Yeah, I did.
I'm still a big fan. And I like to watch Watkins Glen, and I think the road racing is really good.
I've always liked Watkins Glen compared to Sonoma because a lot of drivers that are road racers like Ron Fellows and a lot of other guys, part of the reason they do so well at Watkins Glen is because of their experience at Motorsport.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that.
Yeah, and I've always liked Motorsport and any other similar tracks like that.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had to pick a road course that I like the best out of all of them, I would have to say Circuit Gilles Villeneuve because it's unpredictable.
Oh wow, I've never run there.
Yeah, it's in Montreal, I believe.
Oh no, wait a minute. Montreal. That track in that's what it's. Oh yeah, that's right. I've run there. Mm-hmm.
What
You're
I
right.
like,
It is unpredictable.
yeah, that's what I like about it. Yeah. So yeah, have you ever raced at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve?
One time.
Yeah. What was it like?
Turn one was very interesting.
That's great to hear. So, how did you get your ride with Jimmy Spencer's team?
Jimmy called me up and wanted me to drive the car.
What was working with him like?
Great. I knew Jimmy from before. I met Jimmy somewhere along the line. I don't know where, but we were kind of friends. And he was great to work with. He had a good car. He built a really good car. No complaints. I mean, he was good to work with.
That's great.
We did well. We did well. In fact, I wish I could have driven more with him because I think we could have done really well. I remember we missed the pole by I had the pole. I was on the pole. I was on the pole. They go P1, 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 and I'm like, okay. They didn't tell me. And then as I was coming down pit road, they went P3. I was like, what?
Yeah, that's tough.
Like, damn. But it was fun. It was fun. It was great. I would have liked to have done more of that stuff, but I did what I could do. And there was no money there, so Jimmy just he put that car together and called me up and he said I want to do well. So
yeah. What was your reaction to finishing in the top 5 at the Glen that year?
I was elated. I was thrilled.
Yeah.
So, it was fantastic to be able to do that.
Yeah.
I loved it. I love that kind of racing. That was right down my alley.
Yeah.
Because, it's not just driving fast, it's racing,
Yeah,
and,
for sure. Did you hear about that time that Boris Said finished in the top 5 at Daytona in his own car?
Well, I kind of remember that. I remember that he did. I can't remember the details, but
yeah, it was in 2006 at Daytona, and Boris was leading with a few laps to go, and then he got passed at the white flag by Tony Stewart, I believe, and he ended up finishing 4th. Yeah. So, what did Jimmy Spencer tell you after your amazing finish?
I don't remember. Obviously he said good job,
Yeah. So, what was your reaction to the tremendous finish between Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Ron Fellows?
I thought that was a hell of a race. So I didn't, I probably did the same thing everybody else, between Ron and Dale. I didn't really have a whole lot of say about it,
Yeah. All righty. So
I know both of those guys. I know Ron. I know pretty well, and and Junior, I know, but I was his dad's friend. You know what I mean? It's one of them deals.
All righty. You just knew him because of your association with his dad, right?
Yeah. And when Dale died, I went and spent some time with him, and just got to spend some time with Junior, and that was nice of him to give me that time, because the only time I saw Junior was when he would be working at the shop. I'd be with his dad, and he'd be working on the car, underneath the car. And his dad Dale would be saying, you better get that car finished or you ain't going to have nothing to drive.
Yeah. I remember hearing a podcast video of Dale Earnhardt Jr. talking about their race at Daytona, where his dad had a plan for Michael Waltrip to win. And according to Junior, if he would have broken the plan and tried to pass Waltrip, his dad would have basically left him out in the dust and been like, "I told you not to do that, son." You know?
Right.
That's what Junior said in the podcast, and I kind of got a kick out of that because I can picture Dale Sr. doing that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, what is racing IROC like?
That was the coolest thing in my whole career. Of all the things I did, I put IROC at the very top. It was an honor to be invited. It was a real honor to be invited back to do it twice. And some of the greatest races that I ever had was in IROC, and it was against Dale. And with Dale. But it was Dale and Junior, Al Unser Jr., and, a lot of great drivers that I got to race with, and it's fantastic. And I would say that to me is when I think of if I had to pick, what is a bet, I drove some really great cars, but the IROC that to me was the top of the pile. Top of the pile. It was such an honor to be involved with, to be invited to that. I can't tell you what it meant to me.
Ah. So, what is Al Unser Jr. like? Have you ever met him?
Oh, yeah. I know Al good. Well, very well. He's a great guy. And I'm telling you, he could drive. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was serious. He could probably get the job done. And a good guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Al. I still saw him a couple of years ago, and we still, every time we see each other, we always stop and chat. It's great. I mean, he's fantastic.
Yeah, and he seems pretty cool. He seems pretty cool. I remember there was one year where he won the Indy 500, and that was the race where Penske pretty much led all but 7 laps of the race, whether it was Fittipaldi or Junior that led it.
Yeah, the Mercedes.
Yeah, the Mercedes, yeah. The pushrod engine.
I was there that year because I remember right after he qualified, he put it on the pole, and right after he qualified, I went over to the bus, and him and his wife were in there, and they were in there drinking beer and smoking cigarettes like a couple of kids.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And I think Fittipaldi led the most laps that day before it became Junior's race, I believe. But yeah, basically Penske led all but 7 laps. And that's amazing,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what was it like winning the 24 Hours of Daytona in '84?
Well, that was amazing. That was, I got my break to run the Mazda, and that was one of those gutsy races, where I had to drive. I think I drove 13 hours, 13 of the 24 myself. We got behind, and I had to drive all through the night, knocking out qualifying laps and get the lead back. And, it was unbelievable. The car just kept running. We got behind like 12 laps down. We had a problem early. So I had to come back and get that lead back, and I did it the hard way. Just drove all night long. And I remember driving and saying, because in those years I had nothing. It was just an opportunity. And I remember saying, when you got nothing to lose. And I was driving qualifying laps all night, like all night. And I remember every hour, something like this, every hour I would unlap myself.
Ooh, that's
something
great.
Like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I was rolling. And, it was either going to make it or it was going to break.
Really?
It was all or nothing. Yep, it was all or nothing. We made it. So,
pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Yep.
Yeah. Which road course is your all-time favorite track if you had to pick one?
Wow. tough one. I like. There's several that I really like. I'd say, at the very Motorsport is probably, right there at the top.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say if I had to say three, I would probably be Motorsport, Road America, and Watkins Glen, probably.
Ah, alrighty.
But Atlanta, I like Atlanta too. So
yeah, for sure.
I like fast tracks. High speed tracks is what I like.
Nice. So yeah, I'm the same way. I love going fast. No other way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
What was your reaction to winning Rookie of the Year in Trans-Am?
Well, that was surprising because I'd already been racing for quite a while. I've won a couple of championships, and winning Rookie of the Year in Trans-Am was kind of funny, but at the same time, it was kind of cool, I mean, at the time, it was like, me, a rookie? Really? But, per the rules, I was a rookie. So, it was nice to do it. So, it was, it was just, we had a fairly good year. That was that year that the GM, we talked GM into giving us a car, letting us borrow a car, and giving us a real small engine deal. And so we made good. We made good with that opportunity.
Yeah, pretty cool. So, have you ever raced at Talladega?
Oh yeah, that was IROC. We did IROC there.
What is racing at Talladega like?
Well, it's fantastic. I mean, I've got some fantastic stories from Talladega. I had a photo finish with Dale there. I beat Dale. I finished ahead of him, and finished. I was second. I think Ricky Rudd won it, and then it was me and Dale, and we were a photo finish, and it was fantastic. And so I had that, and I came back the next year, and I was second again. I mean, I should have won that one, but a long story, but it just didn't happen. But once again, it was a very, very close finish.
Did Dale say anything after your photo finish?
Yeah, he went over to me. He came over the car, and I see him coming, and I'm like, oh shit, here comes Dale. And he stuck his head in the window and said, fantastic. That was something like, that was fantastic. He gave me a big handshake and just told me what a great drive that was and how much fun he had.
Yeah, and one thing that I like about Dale is he had faith in a lot of drivers that didn't really make it big time until they drove for him, like Michael Waltrip, for example.
Mm-hmm, right.
And he also had faith in Ron Fellows, who he offered a ride for a period of time. That was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So Dale basically congratulated you after the race then?
Oh, yeah. We had some great races. Dale and I, we had great races together. I mean, we raced hard. We did a lot of door-to-door stuff,
Yeah.
We got behind, we caught up. I mean, I told Dale, look, after my first IROC race, I realized Dale was better than everybody else. So I just decided no matter where Dale was going to be, I was going to be behind him. Because if I was behind Dale, I would go to the front. And that was my plan. And I literally get in the car and look around and say, okay, Dale's in the yellow car. Okay. And I just look for yellow. Here he comes. Get in behind him. And just follow.
Yeah, pretty
Believe me, I learned a lot.
Yeah, I do believe you. And did you race
a lot.
Did you race IROC with him in the 80s or the 90s?
90s.
Alrighty. So that was
mid-90s.
Alrighty.
90, I can tell you when it was. It was 93 and 94.
Alrighty. So yeah, pretty cool.
And then the Bush car was in 90, probably 92.
Cool.
Something like that,
That's pretty cool. And who'd you drive for in 92 in the Bush car again?
Well, it was either Buzz or Tad or and I think later I drove for Jimmy a couple of years later. You know.
Ah, alrighty. So, what was driving for Joe Fox team LJ Racing like?
Joe, which team?
LJ Racing, Joe Fox.
Joe Fox.
Not Fox, Falk. Falk.
Joe Salk.
Yeah.
Salk.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, the thing is, his team was kind of a struggling team. And so a lot of the drivers that have driven for him from interviews I've done previously, they've all told me that driving for LJ Racing was not memorable. So that could be why you don't remember.
I remember now. Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah,
it was terrible. I remember I did that. Watkins Glen didn't make the field. The car was just, they were so far out of there. It was unbelievable.
So you did not enjoy driving for the team then?
No, not at all. That was a big mistake.
Yeah, and other drivers have told me the same thing. Tommy Kendall told me in our interview last year that his race with LJ Racing was not memorable, as he called it.
Well, you see, I couldn't even remember. So you and I are on the same page.
Yeah.
I couldn't even remember. You had to, and I remember because I just, there was nothing to remember, you know?
Yeah.
It was a complete waste of time and money.
Yeah. Do you know Tommy Kendall at all?
Very well.
Yeah.
I've known Tommy Kendall since he started racing.
Yeah, and he's a great guy. I really enjoyed interviewing him last year, just like I'm enjoying this one.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, this is my last question for the interview. What are you doing today now that you're retired?
Well, I'm retired from driving professionally. I'm currently I work for SRO, and I'm the GT4. I'm the Pirelli GT4 America series director.
Alrighty. And are you enjoying that job?
Yes, I really enjoy it. I work with the drivers and the teams, and all aspects of the series. It's a large series, and it's perfect. It's a perfect job for me.
Pretty cool. That's good on you, man. I'm very glad to hear that. Alrighty. So in conclusion, if you had to rate this chat on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate it?
Have you had to rate which one? Say that again.
If you had to rate our conversation on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give it?
I'd give it we had a good conversation. I think your questions were good, and it was a comfortable conversation. I'd give it a 10.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. I really enjoyed talking with you, man.
Thank you. I appreciate you taking the time and taking the time with me. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you very much. And I'll tell Vic Sifton you said hi.
Yeah, please do. Please do. Give him my best.
All righty, I will. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. See you.
See ya. Bye. All righty. Vic, I hope you're watching. Turned out well. Thank you, everyone.